how's it going, everyone? I'm about to start up this series. It's going to be a Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sins, easy mode walkthrough. Um, and I'm gonna basically show you guys how to go through this game with the least amount of trouble as possible. I see a lot of walkthroughs on YouTube and stuff like that, but nobody does anything quite the way that I do it. And for those of you who are real new to the Souls series, um, you might find that Dark Souls 2 can be actually quite difficult. When you know the game, it actually does become pretty easy, and through my extensive, playthroughs and knowledge of the Dark Souls game and Souls series in general, I'm gonna be able to help you guys out. I will say that as I go through this walkthrough, I will be extending this, some of these clips together, and rather instead condensing them into like a summary video. And I'll do a few of these along the way. But for those of you who want like a step-by-step, what should you be doing and stuff like that, this is going to be easy mode. And for those of you who are real new to the Souls series, you know that there is no easy mode. So following these steps would probably be recommended for you guys. Alright? So let's go ahead and get started. First thing you gotta do is start up the game and pick a name and a character and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start up a new game. And I don't think that I'm going to go through the cutscenes. I'll let you go through these cutscenes.
Perhaps you've seen it.
And you can check all that stuff out when you actually do your playthrough. Alright? So, you start off here in the things betwixt. You have no weapons at all, except for your hands, which technically are weapons. So you can punch and stuff like that, and that doesn't do a whole lot of damage. However, if you press the triangle button, you can look, I don't even understand. Like, I guess that's like a two-handed punch. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but it does more damage than the regular punch. So it's something to note. Alright, first thing you want to do, probably you've seen, and if you take a look at any walkthrough, you'll see that they will have you go through and grab a few items here before you get to the hut. Now, first item is over here on the right. And obviously you want to be careful not to drop off. We picked up a rusted coin, which when you use it, it'll increase something called item discovery, which will make it easier for you to have like drops, like when you kill enemies. Don't really mess with these things because they'll aggro, and you're weak. You're nothing actually, so they will dominate you. All right. Now there's a little secret right over here. There's actually a couple secrets right here. This is the first one we're gonna go to on this side. Smooth and silky stone that you trade with I think it's called Dilla and Tylo or something like that, and it's like a crow's nest. Now you see these tracks. There's a like ogre up ahead, and if you go over there right now, you will probably die. I wouldn't even bother with it right now. If you kill it, though, he'll give you the stone ring, but you can come back and get it later. So we're going to skip this again, and now we need to pick a name. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but picking a name sometimes is like just not easy to do. So we are just going to call ourselves Easy Mode. Alright? Because that's what we're doing. Doing Easy Mode. And I am sure it's called easy mode. Alright. Now the funny thing about Dark Souls 2 is that you actually pick your name before you pick your class or anything like that. So, like, you don't really even know what kind of options you have before you pick a name. So it's kind of, I think it's kind of messed up. I think it was an error in judgment for the developers. But here we are. So, class and gift. You can pick up any class you want to. Most people will tell you, like, as far as which one is the easiest or best class for beginners, would probably be the knight class. They've got good weapon, good armor, good statistics, vitality, which is going to contribute to your, health and stuff like that. But I personally like running with clerics because you get that extra heal. So, if you get kind of low on health, you can just, heal yourself up. Um, the sorcerer is usually um, a really good class, but for beginners, both the cleric and the sorcerer might be a little bit intimidating because you have an additional mechanic to worry about, which is the spells. However, if you're not timid at all, you could choose one of these, and it could help you out with your playthrough. I mean, sorcerers, because they have really strong range attacks, you might not take a whole lot of damage when you go through your playthroughs. Other ones you can pick are the explorer, deprived, which we'll talk about in a second, the bandit, which you can see some of the weapons that they start out with. Could be pretty good. Alright, like the scimitar, the long sword, a broken sword, which, I mean, you can get new weapons, so that's not even a thing. You'll get new armor, new weapons, and stuff like that. Part of it mostly is like what your starting stats are, and right out the gate, what do you have? But I'm here to tell you that my advice to you, if you're totally green, pick the knight. Just pick the knight. If you've played a Souls game before, you probably already know what you want to play, and just go ahead and play that. But what I'm going to do is actually show you what happens when you pick deprived, because in my personal opinion, I love playing deprived class. You have nothing to start out. You're just, the scum of the earth. Matter of fact, I think in Bloodborne they called it like something like that, the deprived class, and it's just funny. But that's my go-to, and the main thing for this is because later on in the playthrough, you might be playing through as like a knight, and then you're like, you know what, I really want to have some better stats, like my faith stats, so I can cast miracles like a cleric can. And then what you can do is you can like allocate your points with something called a soul vessel. And the only problem is with doing that is that your starting class will give you the minimum stats that you can adjust. So where deprived, you have a free range to pretty much put anything in anything, because it all starts at base 6 and you're at level 1. Whereas, like a knight, you start out level 13, so you've already got a bunch of stuff going for you. So it's kind of like a cost to benefit, and opportunity cost kind of benefit that you have to make a judgment call on. Alright, so I'm deprived. Now the gift, if you're really worried, maybe pick the life ring. It'll give you a little bit more health so you don't die. You can get healing wares, that can help you out too. Personally, I like the petrified something. It will come in handy really early in the game, and it is kind of like a gamble. It could be something really cool, but it could be something like not good at all. I still like to do it. These things are limited around the world, but they can help you get rare items and stuff like that. I probably wouldn't pick this. This will help you ward off against invaders, which if you're afraid of those, that's like other people playing the game trying to get into your game and kill you while you're in the middle of your playthrough. If you're worried about that, pick this up. If you just don't even want that to happen, I've got a video on playing offline mode, so just do that. You can skip this one. Homer Bones allow you to warp back to Majula, which is like the main place that you level up and all that kind of stuff. Human effigies will reset your health back to 100%. So I don't know if you noticed when I was coming here, my health was like halfway. That's because I was hollowed. So you use these to get back to a human form, which will give you 100% of your health. They're pretty good, but I wouldn't pick any of this junk. I would just go with this. And you never know, you might get something super cool anyways. So now, as far as body, build, gender, I'm gonna just go ahead and pick male. You could do whatever you want, you know, different builds and stuff like that. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time. Sometimes I'll sit here and spend like, you know, an hour on trying to figure out what, you know, I want to look like and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. Not like a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Let's pick this. Give him some black hair. And maybe a beard or something. Yeah, let's do something like that. Make sure that that's matches. You know what I'm saying? Let's give him some cool looking eyes. Yeah. Make sure the eyebrows kind of match. And let's see. Now you can go to advanced settings if you really want to get into your guy. I guess the one thing I do want to do is kind of change up my color a little bit. There we go. Give him a little bit of a tan. And I don't know if I'm gonna mess with really anything else. You know, you start messing with it a lot, and your guy looks all weird and stuff like that. You know. There we go. All right, that's good enough. Let's go ahead and get to it. So, go back over here, finalize, and let's do our playthrough. Yeah, this is my true self, man. There's been times, like especially in Dark Souls 3, that I've made it look like exactly like myself. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. Now, next thing you want to do is run up the stairwell and grab this. Something to keep in mind is that if you hit chests, you will bust them. So let me show you what happens here. Maybe before you actually open it up. I've never broken one after it's open, but if you punch it too many times or attack it too many times before you open it, you'll destroy the chest altogether. And then when you open it up, you'll, instead of getting whatever was inside, you'll get rubbish. So keep that in mind. And then you might ask, like, why would you even do that? Why would you even attack the chest? Well, because some chests are actually monsters. Call them mimics, and they mimic the look of a chest. So in this drop right here, you've got Soul of Lost Undead, which basically will give you souls so you can level up, and then a torch. And a moment ago we hit the bonfire, and that basically what that does is it gives you, refills your health and spells and stuff like that. Now, for most of you, I would highly recommend going through this tutorial area. Now, it ends up there, but I think that it's a really good idea for new players to just try this out. You know what I'm saying? It's a very low-risk way to, you know, learn how to do things with the game. It tells you with these little notifications like what you're supposed to do in order to properly engage in battle and stuff like that. So, and notice you have these things here. I'll show you what, matter of fact, I'll go right back real quick, and I'll show you how this works. Because when I first played this game, I was like, how do I light those things? Well, you go to either the bonfire or to a lit torch, and you just light your own torches. Now, you remember a moment ago I picked up a torch. So as long as you have torches, and there's a timer right there, you can light torches. And you'll find them along the way. Just make sure you don't let the torch burn out all the way, because then you won't have any torches. I've never really had that problem before. Looks like something died. And here's my one-handed attacks. So let's go back to the two-handed punch. So yeah, it's now here's how you backstab. You get really close to the enemy, to their back, and then you just press the light attack, and then you'll do a backstab. And if you had like a regular weapon, that would actually kill them. But because I'm just using my hands, like one hand over the other, it does like next to no damage. And those things are real weak too. So if you're playing Deprived or I think it's Warrior, then at this point you probably want to switch your weapon because you just picked up a dagger. And while a dagger might seem like kind of a bad weapon, I will tell you that the dagger, in the right hands, the dagger can be a very strong weapon, okay? So, now, I'm going to sit here and show you guys how to do this. You just like, yeah, I don't even have to roll. Because if you time it right, you could just kind of move out of the way, alright? So don't let them, like, hit you, you know what I'm saying? Come over here, mess this guy up. And this other guy is going to drop down. And like I said, don't let them mess you up, you know what I'm saying? Now, the strong point to the dagger is what I just did there, is a backstab. If you can get one of the backstabs or a parry on these dudes, on anyone actually for that matter, daggers do an immense amount of damage. So, I'm going to not let that guy shoot me with an arrow while this guy's coming at me. And you should never, actually, if there's a way to avoid it, never let the enemies gang up on you, man. Yeah, never let the enemies gang up on you. Try not to let them hurt you or touch you or anything like that. If you can, like, aggro one at a time, do it. So like if you get like a bow or and even throwing knives, honestly, like use what you can so that you can always do like a one-on-one fight. Now this is that the crow's nest that I was talking about, Dilo and Till, I don't know what the name is, it really doesn't matter. So kick that thing down so you can come back up here later. And then what you're going to do is you go to your equipment, your inventory, and over here you've got two items now, because in the very, very beginning of the game and things betwixt, we picked this up by the waterfall. Now what you do is you leave it. Alright, it's going to lay it on the ground, and only do one at a time. Don't do more than one ever, because it only does one at a time. So you'll just waste them if not. These two things will trade Silky Smooths and Petrified Something for a random item. So let's see what we got. Ooh, a Dark Knight Stone. Those are used to imbue weapons with dark energy, which could be super cool if you're going for like a hexer route. Now this one has a better chance to get something awesome. So let's see what we get. So you could get something terrible, like regular, like a life gem, you know, from this. But you can get like unique items and stuff. Well, not unique, but like, oh, okay, Petrified Dragon Bone. That's actually pretty good. I wasn't really hoping to get one of those, but it's actually pretty good. Like later in the game, like you can come over and throw down a bunch of those Silky Smooth things, and you'll be hoping to get those Petrified Dragon Bones, because they will upgrade like boss weapons and stuff like that. So that is very, very cool. It's just not very cool right now. So there's not a whole lot of options here besides. And notice that I have a stamina meter, and like if my stamina meter is all the way down, don't continue to attack. All right, this isn't you know, one of your other games or whatever, like, you know, Zelda or something you might play on the Nintendo or whatever, or Assassin's Creed or something, where you can just constantly spam your weapon. You know, like, you have a meter. Don't spam your attack. You want to measure it properly. Now, there's right up ahead. There's a gap. And there's a consumable right there, and I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how I roll. And I will say, the other day I was doing a jump, and my controller kind of just like, I don't know what happened, but the controller made me like straight up run the opposite direction at the last moment before I jumped. So I'm gonna practice. I would advise you to do the same. Just kind of do a run, and then you hit L3 to jump. Just like that, alright? And if you time it right, you will jump over this little gap right here. And it shouldn't be too much a problem, but there you go. But if you die, not gonna lie, man, it totally sucks if you die. Because like I said, you come hollow, and then now, oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, my controller has issues. So platforming has an additional level of risk. All right. So, and I will say, you're like probably wondering, like, why are all these things around the map? Well, if you light all of them, you can potentially fight like an enemy or whatever. So when you drop down, click the right button, the L1 attack button, and you can do a considerable amount of damage. Probably if you're attacking with a different weapon that you started with, you probably end up killing that dude. And then you only have a one-on-one fight. But like I said before, I'll try to keep it one-on-one whenever possible, because that is going to be an issue. These cracked red-eye orbs, they're for invading. So if you're not into invading, like me, I really don't get into that stuff. I'm more of a PvE guy. So if you like the invading, then you'll probably end up using that. You use the consumable, and then it will it will allow you to invade someone's world. So over here is an area that you'll be able to get to later on, and those things are basilisks, and they drop some pretty cool items when you kill them, like that Dark Knight stone that I got. That's for imbuing weapons with elemental damage. But it allows you to pick up a bunch of different of those type of stones for imbuing different items, which is like super duper cool. So you'll probably want to like farm those later on, so you can have, you know, different elements. All right, so here we go. Now we are coming to Majula. So this is going to be your refuge in Dark Souls 2. This is where you level up. This is where you talk to NPCs that aren't going to kill you and stuff like that. Well, as long as you don't attack them, they won't kill you. Now, first couple things you want to do is grab this. That's going to be... honestly, I don't ever use those. But they will... I think they'll heal you up and eliminate any kind of status effects that you have, which is really nice. I don't really have a problem with that ever. So you drop down there, and then you drop down here. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why are we doing this? Well, because there's two extremely important items early on. You got the Morning Star, and as a bonus, the Cleric Sacred Chime, which could be, if you're going for, or like, kind of like a miracle build, but you didn't pick Cleric, then that could be very good to have. And then the other thing is the Binoculars. So that's for pretty much casting any spell at range where you're not locking on to a target. You can also use it just to see far away, which is kind of cool. Now we're going to go down there in a little bit. But first, let me take a selfie. Nah, I'm just playing. Alright, first you got to light this bonfire and talk to this lady. She is the, this is what everyone calls in the community, the Dark Souls 2 #1 waifu. So I'm going to go ahead and
go on and see. He who made Drangleic what it once was.
Go through her her lines. I'm not gonna. You guys can read through their stuff and check out the story and everything like that. But what's really important is that she gave an Estus flask, and that is your like healing potions. So when you talk to her and you have, when you go to her and you,
once you have, so that hope.
you need to stop talking, girl. Because when you go to her, she will give you the option to upgrade your Estus flask if you have Estus shards. So I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. So first thing, we've got to get a couple items. And there's an item right here. Got consumable for souls and a life gem, which by the way, I highly recommend not only that you equip your Estus flask and your item belt right here, but also life gems. Life gems are very, very good. In this game, healing is very generous, honestly. Like, people cry about this game being really hard and stuff, but out of all the Dark Souls, like, I don't know if any of the other ones give you so many consumables for healing up. So there is a little bit of latitude for that. Now, talk to this guy. You can read through his dialogue. He's going to ask you to join a covenant. And when we get there, we'll talk about that covenant. And I would highly recommend you join his covenant. Oh, look, I pressed no. But you ask him again, he'll say yeah. And then you learn the gesture, and then enter the covenant of the crestfallen Soldan. The Way of the Blue. And he'll give you a ring, and that'll be your first ring. I usually just equip it, the blue seal ring. I think it has like some secondary effect. I can't quite honestly for the life of me remember what it is, but it better than nothing. So if you have a life ring already, then you have two, because some of you might have picked it for your starting gear. There's a wizard guy that you get later on. You'll talk to him, and he'll come over here when he comes to Majula. So you gotta find him. There's a trader, like she trades things, and she sits right here. You'll find her later on. You've got the blacksmith, who's all mad because he can't get inside. He locked the door without having the key or something. I don't know his story. You talk to him and find out. He's probably lying to you, saying that, you know, someone stole his key or something, but really he just locked the door and he forgot where the key was, and you know how it is. I don't know if any of you guys ever locked the keys in your car. I think that happened to me once. That's no fun. But so there's a life gem there, and this person right here, well, technically it's not a person, it's a cat, believe it or not. So this cat will sell you rings and stuff, which are very helpful, matter of fact. Instrumental to the game, I would say. So, and you could also check out your covenants here too. So if you want to abandon a covenant, this is actually pretty, abandoning a covenant is relevant to one particular covenant, which we'll talk about in a moment. But take a look at her items. She's got this one, which every time you defeat a foe, you'll get a little bit of health. There's a Ring of Evil Eye +1 down this hole behind me. You'll get that in a little bit. I wouldn't buy that. This one you'll need before you go down the hole, because this will significantly reduce falling damage. This is probably one of the best items you can buy in Majula. I don't really even use this one. This one is good for co-op. If you want to co-op with people, get this ring. Just like, no question, get the ring. It's going to be very helpful. I'm going to put out a video on all this stuff as far as like name engraved ring and how that works. And then the Ring of Whispers. There's a place called the Shadow Ruins. Make sure you have this before you go to the Shadow Ruins. It'll come in handy. So when you get enough money, it's not like you don't have to go quick to get it, but you definitely want to pick it up. The Homer Bone is good because it'll warp you back to the Majula, or actually to the previous bonfire. These things, you just lay them down and they're glowing stones. So sometimes they're helpful to like remember things, like where you went and stuff like that. These things are cool because you throw them out, and it's like if you ever played Call of Duties, it's like monkey bombs. So they don't explode, but they will attract the enemies. Instead of aggroing on you, they'll aggro on those things. So
Nothing suited you, I presume.
that's kind of cool. Now, here's the little trick with the Estus Shard. Attack that rock, and then grab this Estus Shard. These things over here, don't mess with them. They look like little piglets, and they are, but they have sharp, pointy teeth. So, oh man, they're already aggroed on me. I think they are. I don't know. Don't let them aggro on you. You're probably really low level or don't know how to really play the game very good, so just leave it, man. Don't mess with those. So, this, in the weaponsmith shop, you want to grab the Titanite Shard, because that's going to help you to upgrade your weapon of choice. Very, 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 very important to have Titanite Shards and stuff. And then you can talk to this dude. I think
to my
those things are aggroed. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're trying to get at me. Yeah, see, they're following over here. So if they're aggroed on you, just run back to the bonfire, because they will kill you. You're probably like, why don't you just kill them? Why don't you attack them? Well, because they're so small, their hitbox is so low to the ground that you have to have specific types of weapons to be able to actually attack them. Because me, I'm attacking way up here, and you're like, well, why don't you attack down below? Well, you can't. Like, it's just the game. The game just makes it difficult. I don't understand why, but that's just how it is.
Is that a shard you found?
Yes,
Here,
of course it's a shard, lady.
However,
So, she is going to upgrade your shard, and just like that. And now, let's take a look. Now it says I got 2 shards. Alright. And every time when you go to the bonfire, it will refill your Estus flasks. Not shards, but Estus flasks. And you will then have the opportunity to continue to go on and have some form of healing, aside from your consumable life gems. These will never replenish. You can only get more drops. Alright? Okay. What else we need to do in Majula is we can come down this way. There's something that we need to get down here, but I do not want to go down there just yet. All right, because I'm walking around naked. I want to at least have a shield if I'm naked. So we're gonna come down here, but first, all of you should grab this thing. I'm gonna talk about this altar. I remember the first time I was playing through this and I was watching this walkthrough, and this dude's like, whatever you do, don't, go into this covenant. So you kneel here, and it's going to be like, hey, do you want to enter the covenant? And the dude's like, don't ever go in there. Look, let me go ahead and clear this up. If you watch a walkthrough that tells you to don't enter this covenant, just know that it's not a bad thing. Entering that covenant is actually a really good thing in certain instances. Basically, it's called the Covenant of Champions, and when you get into that covenant, it will make all the enemies more difficult to kill, and they will always respawn whenever you touch the bonfire. Alright, and you're probably like, what does that even mean? Well, whenever you touch the bonfire, enemies respawn. However, in this game, if you kill them enough, then they stop spawning altogether. And that I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. Probably in the next video, I'll show you what that looks like. So, it's not a bad thing, especially if you're trying to farm for certain things, and it's actually really, really, really good, because then the enemies will continue to respawn, and you can kill them forever, But would I normally be in the Covenant of Champions? No. Just stay in the way of the blue. If you do accidentally join the way of the Company of Champions, not a big deal. Just go talk to the cat and then abandon the Covenant. Alright, so I clicked on that lever. There's another one over here if you want to close the door behind you. Just leave it. And then come over here, and now you will get another soul item and a broken thieves sword. So that thing, the Broken Thief Sword, is the starting item for the warrior. That item, it sucks. I'll be honest with you guys. That weapon just sucks. Alright, so, most people do not come here first. I am here to tell you that Hyde's Tower of Flame should be the first place that you go to. Alright? Don't mess with this dude right here. These are Hyde Knights. I'm like right on top of him and he's sleeping. So just leave him where he's at for right now. If you wake him up, he'll probably gonna kill you. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You mess with the bull, you're gonna get the horns. Run past that dude. Hit this bonfire real quick before this guy gets here. And that will reset him back to where he was at. And, alright, so this is what we're going to do. Alright, I'm gonna give you guys some homework before we get to the next video, because I'm going to end it here in a moment. So here's what we're going to do. Whatever weapon that you have, if you can, equip a Morning Star or mace. If you're a cleric, you already have a mace. If you can equip it, do it. Because those have strike damage. And if you're like, what does strike damage mean? Dungeon? Okay, so you see here it says the type of weapon is a hammer. And then attack type is strike in this particular case. Alright? So strike damage does a good amount of damage to heavily armored enemies. And we're about to kill this heavily armored enemy and farm up some souls. So, hold on 1 second, y'all. So, what I would do is this. Equip it if you can. If you can't, you see down at the bottom of the screen, it says the arm with 15, that's the requirement, strength 15, dexterity is 7. I only have 6 in both, because my character sucks right now. Alright? Use it, and you can kill that dude over there. If not, a couple things you can do. First thing I'm going to show you, go back to Majula. And we were going to level up, because I have 600 souls, and also I got those consumables. Alright? So, let's use them. We're going to use all of them. Soul of Nameless Soldier. And Soul of Lost Undead. So, and I'm going to use both at the same time for this one. Alright, now, I have 2,600. Alright? And by the way, those dudes that you see right there in white, those are just people that are playing that are similar soul memory as you.
Bearer of the seek less.
Alright, so let me level up. And now, a couple bits of advice. You probably want to level up your dex, because we need a dex of 7. And there's no way to artificially increase the dex, so we're just going to go with a 7 so we can use that mace. Next thing we're going to do is bump up strength a little bit. Alright. Now we're just shy of enough to wield this thing. 2 hands. Oh no, we can. Let's see. Alright, so take a look here. Now, if I go 1 hand, I cannot. 2 hands, I can. You're probably like, how is that possible? Well, my strength is a 9. And when you 2-hand a weapon, you add half of your strength to your strength. So, half a 9. Somehow, I don't know how this math is working, but apparently I think I can use it right now, because it doesn't have an X on it. Let's see here. Yeah, so see how the weapon R1, our right-handed weapon, it says 69, and then when I 2-hand it, I have enough strength, and now it has 138 damage. So, I don't know, by my math, half a 9 rounding down would be 4, which would mean I'd have a 13 strength. And, yeah, I don't understand what happened there. I'll have to look that up and get back to you in the next video. But apparently I can use it. So now I'm going to show you guys how to basically do this. If you can wield this with one hand, it's going to make it a whole lot easier. But since I can only wield it with one hand or two hands, then here's the strategy. And some of you are probably going to be like, "Yo, dungeon, that's kind of tough, man." And if it is, well, there's another spot to go to actually, but let's see how you do. All right. These guys real easy to dodge. Just kind of go around them, hit them twice. Just like that. Circle around to the right. Stab behind them, and there you go. All right. And you can farm these guys up. Now, if you're like, "Yo, I think that's too hard for me," no problem. There's another thing you can do before you get started on that, okay? And we're gonna go back to Majula because I needed just a little bit more to level some stuff up. And I'm gonna show you if you have enough to wield the weapon. Like I do. I technically have enough to wield this weapon. So I'm just gonna let that ride for a minute. Alright, and I'm gonna show you what is the single most important thing to level up in this game. The first thing you do, aside from getting the mace equipable, and that is your ADP. That's adaptability. And this thing will raise a lot of different stuff. You can see it's highlighted, the different things that it raises. So when I raise it up, it actually doesn't look like it does much besides the hit points. But if you look in the middle column near the bottom, it says AGL. That's agility. For whatever reason, this is like one of the main gripes people have with this game. For whatever reason, the developers wanted agility to be a statistic that augments the ability to like drink potions faster and dodge in particular, giving invincibility frames. So right now with the 86 agility, you have like almost no invincibility frames when you roll. Like you're rolling, but it's almost like real life. Like if you rolled in front of someone who's attacking with a sword, like they'll still hit your body as you're in the middle of your somersault. But in Dark Souls games, typically when you roll out of the way, you have a very short period of like less than a second of invulnerability frames that you will take no damage from anything. So it is a super duper duper important thing to increase your AGL, your agility, to at least 88. Alright, that's going to give you, I think it's like 1/3 of a second. I'll look it up when we come back, but I think it's 1/3 of a second of invincibility frames, which is like double what you start out with. So very, very, very important. Go ahead and increase that. I think you need ADP of like, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something like that. It's really not that much of an investment, but it's so good. Like the rewards that you get from investing in this is just, it's so good. So do yourself a favor, do that. And then I'm going to bring you to this bonfire that maybe some of you will be like, "Oh, this is a lot easier to kind of like farm up just a little bit, you know, to get your basic statistics ready to roll." Especially if you did like me, if you did deprived, and that will be over here. All right, there's some hollowed warriors and stuff that are pretty easy to kill. They don't give you a whole lot of souls, not like the that Hide Knight. So alright. This thing will open. Do keep in mind that if you don't move past it before it opens all the way, it'll close on you, and if you're underneath it, you'll die. So, see, it's already closed. So you'll be totally up the creek without a paddle. Alright. So here's a quick little lesson in platforming. Just take it easy, alright? Just take it easy. Don't attack the chest. Alright, so there's a human effigy. For those of you who died already, you can use the human effigy to reset yourself to human. Now, and Hyde's Tower is a solution to those of you who are dying so far. And it's a ring. We'll get that in a little bit. And then probably the next episode we'll get it. So kill this dude. He might drop something for you. Those knives can be very handy before you get a ranged weapon. Come over here, grab the homeward bone and the souls. And look, that ogre will mess you up, so don't aggro him. Like, for real. You guys are new at the game, it's gonna mess you up, alright? This dude, on the other hand, oh my god. There's a morning star for you. Two hits. Look at that. 2 hits. I'm telling you, this morning star is where it's at, y'all. People always diss the morning star and mace. Let me tell you right now, the morning star, y'all. Morning star. Alright. So, I'm going to end it right here. And when we get back, I'm going to basically kind of farm up a little bit, actually probably beforehand. So I would have you guys do that. Farm up a little bit, gain a few levels, kill a few of these dudes right up in here, or the knight that I was talking about over at Hyde's Tower. Level up a little bit, and then come back. Alright, you guys? I'll see you then. Bye, everyone.